Hi there, and a very warm welcome to this week's video in which we are going to look at bubbles. So I released a RenderCon logo before I did go to RenderCon, which was amazing by the way, and I have made a travel vlog for it. You can find it in the link in the upper right corner. I did some bubbles inside of there and someone asked me how I did that, so we are going to get a look at this in this video. This should be rather short, but I was wrong in the length estimation before. So let's see where this gets us. Now, without further ado, let's grab your coffee and let's keep on going. And as always, let's have a look what we're going to do today. You have seen it in the intro, but here again, we have those bubbles not intersecting with the walls of our text. And of course, that is a Mograph setup we're going to do. So let's buckle up as we jump in. And welcome to Cinema 4D land. We are going to use the standard layout for now because we are going to work with Mograph and not with Octane for the first part. And speaking of cloner, let's create a Mograph cloner and bring it into the directory I already made. Of course, we want to get the bubbles inside of our logo, so what we need to do is go into object mode of the cloner, and then what you also might have noticed is that the mesh is a little bit coarse. We can see that here. So what I want to do is select the null above the SLV logo, then alt-click on the subdivision surface here. Let's just name it SDS SLV. Here we go. And then last but not least, drag in the SDS object here in the object slot of our cloner. Let's first disable the mesh again by hitting NA, and then go into the logo here and set it to X-ray because we want to see the bubbles inside. And you probably already know where this is going, so let's make a sphere to get our bubble. Go to the object attributes and make it a size of 4 mm or 0.4 centimeters. Now, if you're wondering why this came in as a hexahedron sphere and not a standard, I made my own preset here. Usually there's a preset button right here, but for some reason the newest version of Cinema 4D sometimes doesn't show it. Probably some kind of bug. The reason I chose hexahedron as a standard is that the mesh distribution is very even, for example compared with the standard. This usually avoids problems in a lot of situations. I hope you enjoy those little nuggets on the side, but now on with the show. You might have expected that we are going to set the sphere in the cloner, and this is exactly what we are going to do. Per default, the cloner is distributing our bubbles on the surface. Of course, bubbles usually are underneath the surface, so we have to go with volume. While we are at it, let's also increase the count to around 150. Here we go. On first sight, this might seem a little bit excessive, but we are going to scale our bubbles because right now they are of course all the same size. So let's get some variance going by having the cloner active, then go to the Mograph menu here and add a plane effector. If we go to the parameter attribute, we are not interested in the position, but in the scale. So let's tick that, also uniform and absolute, and set the actual scale to -1. Now all the spheres are gone. To bring them back, what I'm going to do is go to fields and introduce a random field. We could leave it at that, but if you look at nature, usually the distribution is not linear. So we usually get a few really big ones and the rest of it is medium and small. And unfortunately, this reminds me of our current financial system. So to get there for our scene, we go to remapping, then scroll down and enable the curve. Sorry, it's cut off. Then in the curve, we want to get a distribution sort of like this. You can play around with it until you're satisfied. This looks really good already, but we still have some problems to solve. First of all, we have some intersections in our bubbles that we want to avoid. Also, they are right now sticking outside of the objects, which we don't want. To solve the intersection problem, you probably already know where this is going, so let's go to the Mograph menu one more time and then go with the push apart. And if the cloner wasn't active at the time, let's make sure it's set in there as one of the effectors. Here we go. As our scene is very small, the push apart pushes apart our spheres much more than we would like. So let's go to the effector here and set the radius just a little bit bigger than our initial sphere, which was 0.4 or 4 millimeters. So let's go with 5 millimeters here. And you can see this solves our intersection problem. If you really want to make sure there are no intersections, you can raise the iterations number to a higher value, for example 50, but usually 10 is good for us for now, so let's keep it at 10 for our purpose. Let's move on to the next step, which is eliminating those bubbles sticking out of the letters. What we are going to need for that is an active cloner and then yet again another plane effector. And as with the first one, we don't care about its position, we just want to have the scale at -1. So what we need to do here is to tell our clones to scale down as they approach the rim, so we need some sort of mask that tells us the proximity of those letters. Thank God Maxon introduced fields a while ago, so I'm going to just drag our SDS objects of our letter into there. As you can see, something funky is going on and not in a good way, as this is not our expected result. And this is because the meshes of our letters are still separated. So for some reason, the field only works on the first mesh. The easiest way, at least that I know of, is to connect those meshes. To do it non-destructively, what we can do is select the null object and then while holding down Alt, go with the connect. Now, it still doesn't look right, and this is because the cloner needs a refresh, so let's do the old IT trick and turn it off and on again. Now that we fixed that, let's finally get back to the plane and its field. Inside of the field, let's set things up a little bit better, because right now we are dealing with two huge values again. So let's go with a radius of 2.5 millimeters or 0.25 centimeters, switch the mode to surface, and last but not least, set the restrict effect to inside and invert. Now, as you can see, this makes only the bubbles outside of the boundary appear. So we need to invert that again by going to remapping and then hit invert. And now we are good. If you have keen eyes, you have noticed something sneaky, and this is that the number of bubbles has gone down. This is because we changed our mesh, so the distribution is per one mesh and not on every mesh anymore. So what we need to do is get this up ×3. You might think this is it, but we skipped over a very essential element, and you see it if I press play. There's no movement. I just wanted to get the initial setup going because adding motion involves some more tweaking. But we are ready now, so let's go with a Mograph random effector this time. This time we want to go for the position, though it's too big again, so let's go with 10 by 10 by 10 millimeters. This makes the bubbles jump outside of the text again. This is because of the order of operations. So if we go to our cloner, you can see that the random effector is the last effector, but it actually needs to be the first one. If I hit play again, there's still no movement. So let's fix that by going back to the random effector and the effector page here. Set the type from random to noise. You can mix and match this the way you like it. I ended up with a value of 15 for the animation speed and a value of 10 for the scale. And now if I hit play, you can see it's actually working as intended, though those bubbles sometimes can be a little bit jumpy, so we are going to soften that with a delay effector. Let's do this by making the cloner active again and then go to the Mograph menu one more time and select the delay effector. And if we hit play yet again, you can clearly see it's more smooth now, but it's still acting up. So what I'm going to do is go with the strength of 90. And if we let it play through, it's now much more smooth and much more along the lines what I would expect bubbles to be inside of an object. And if you're still seeing intersections like this, there's a very easy fix. So we just need to go to the plane that scales them, go to the fields and to the radius here and set the radius a little bit higher. The reason why we don't see it update is just because the delay is delaying that, so turning it off and on again fixes that. Alright, so now that everything works, let's tidy up the Mograph setup a little bit and then continue on to shading. And welcome to Octane and Shading Land. The good thing is that the shading part is both very easy to understand and very easy to execute. So let's get started. And actually the only thing we need is a specular material, so let's get this from the drop down here and apply it to our letters, like this. And now you can already see the bubbles appearing inside. To actually make those bubbles out of air, we are going to use nested dielectrics. So what we need to do is duplicate our material, then navigate to the index and set it to 1, since air has a index next to 1. Also in the preview you can actually see that the object is basically nothing. Now if we just apply it to the bubbles, they just disappear out of the rendering, and this is because the priority isn't set right yet. Now if you hear nested dielectrics and priorities for the first time, I made a video especially on that topic. It's in the upper right corner if you want. Though following this video here will get you there as well. So speaking of getting the priorities right, what we need to do is navigate to our material again, to the common section here, and then you will already see the priority. Intentional rhyme. So right now our air material has the same priority as our glass material. And I call it glass because the index of 1.5 is a little bit too high for fluid. So let's make it a fluid by going with 1.33. But back to topic on the priority, what we need to do is give the air priority over the water. So let's go to the air. To do that, we just need to raise the 0 value to a value of 1. And now we can see that those nested dielectrics are working their wonders. This is giving us the right boundary condition between those different material interfaces. And this is essentially it. Of course, you can do a lot more to it as you've seen in the intro. For example, to get much nicer caustics by going with the photon tracing kernel and setting those materials to active for caustics, like this. And of course, I already made a tutorial about how to create great caustics. It's in the upper right corner again. And it seems like my senses didn't trick me this time, as this is indeed a short one. If you want to dissect the scene that you've seen in the intro, you can go to my Patreon. The link is down in the description. For a very small donation, you can watch my tutorials a little bit more early than on YouTube and get access to all the scene files that I show in my tutorials. Welcome back and thanks for sticking around. As always, there is a bonus to this one. And this time we're going to talk about mediums, and no, we are not talking about old ladies in tents that tell the future. We are talking about SSS mostly. Because this can make the look of your object so much more diverse and interesting. To go with the most easy way to do SSS is to get a RGB color into the absorption as well as in the scattering, if it lets me, like this. And although it's white, it already gives a very interesting look. This could be, for example, some hair gel. Also, of course, you can reverse the look and give the volume to the air bubbles. To make it a little more dramatic, let's do what I did in the intro and make them orange and also raise the volume density. By the way, small troubleshooting, especially if you render SSS on bigger objects without the caustics, it can be dark and slow. So what you can do here is go to the material, common, and set fake shadows to on. Now this will create no caustics and the shadow looks fake, but it will render much faster. And if you're feeling a little bit eccentric, what you can do is separate the colors for scattering and absorption and then give it different colors. For example, this reddish orange in the absorption, as well as a blue color in the scattering. So you have a nice split here, and we can accentuate that by going with a higher density, like this. And if all of this isn't enough and you just want to get some random colors for your bubbles, just add one more plane effector to your cloner by going to plane effector. Of course, still we are not interested in the position. We are going to fields and add a random field. And you can already see our clones getting some color. If you want to get a little bit more specific with colors, you can go with a gradient. I'm not going to get the gradient in here. I'm just setting a preset. For example, this one. So we get some rainbow colors. And now as a last step to get the color information in, what we need to do is search for the Mograph color, then exchange that with our absorption, for example. And here we go. We have some colored clones, and if we reload, then also this works with caustics. Alrighty, this was it, including the bonus section. So thank you very much for sticking around, and as always, thanks to the people who made this video possible. my Patreons. Especially my €50 tier subscribers, Leon Studio TV. Also, of course, a huge thank you for my €15 tier subscribers, for D Thieves, Alessio De Vecchi, Chris Fritchie, 5-in-1 Designs, Ami Sheetreed, Christian Grajewski, Daryl, Graham Bucknell, Grigoris Morikis, Ivan Tanasiewicz, Joel Mackemer, Mike Rogers, Ness Graphics, Part 1 of 2, Ralph, Random Capybara, Raiko, Zoo Shag, Terry Wayne Ranson, Uwe Beer, Jan Verbeeke, and Yassin Rupp. And welcome to the Bubble Bath. Thank you very much for still hanging on. I hope you can use this idea for something interesting. If you make something worth showing, I'm always interested in the works that come out of my tutorials, so feel free to share those on my socials. Oh, also, I didn't mention it in this video, but I'm going to be at FMX next week, or if you're watching this on YouTube, basically the day the video comes out. If you see me there, feel free to say hi. Also, if you want to help me find ideas for new YouTube videos, as I think they're lacking a bit in groundbreaking ideas lately, something along the lines of the foam shader and diffraction grading, for example, absolutely feel free to share your ideas with me. Now, I don't want to make this too long, so if you want to help me fight against the algorithm overlords, let's post a bathtub in the comments below. Other than that, I wish you a fantastic start into the week. If you're watching this later, then a great time ahead. And I say... Bubble butt, bubble butt. Bye.